Today's video could have been called Confession of a Serial Expatriate because I have lived across 6 countries in the last 15 years. And as I'm going towards my 40s and I'm, looking back at all the things that shaped me and maybe the person that I am today and what I want to keep with me and leave behind, I realize that the fact that I've lived in so many different countries has really had a big, big impact on how I define myself, how I experience the world, and how I move out there. And yeah, just in general, connect with people or interact with people. And that's been a lot of different European countries. So I'm originally from France, and then I moved to Spain, then Netherlands, then UK, then Belgium, then Italy, and then back to the UK. So it's been a little bit of back and forth here, trying different places across Europe, mostly for work. And yeah, I've been doing it for 15 years now, and I honestly cannot imagine doing my life differently. I don't know if I will be in the UK much longer, but for sure, continuing to live abroad and going in different places and learning different culture is something that I would really, really want to continue. And there is something very special about this kind of long-term expatriate life that is very unique. So if you are considering living abroad, or if you are somebody who's been living in multiple countries, you might resonate with what I'm saying here. The first thing that is very different for me that maybe other people is, first of all, is how do you define your home? Because I had so many times, for instance, at work, people saying, "Oh, it's Christmas time. Are you going back home?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I live here." It's always been very confusing for me to answer this question because what is a home really? And sometimes people assume it's the country you come from, but for me, it's more like the place where I feel safe, where I feel that I can bring my whole self. And yeah, this is a very interesting question. If you know where people who are expatriate, they probably will struggle with this question too. And you're like, how do I recreate this sense of home everywhere I go, and how can I create it within myself? So that's the very specific feeling yeah, that makes me a different person because I have to think about creating safety for myself, creating the places where I can nurture myself, whatever country I live in. So that's a different mindset I bring as well to the way I build my life. Another thing that comes with that is also you learn to be agile. You learn to be fluid in who you are because you have constantly to reinvent yourself. Because every single country you go to, you can be a different person if you want to, but you also, yeah, you get also to experience different culture that's going to shape you differently, and you also lose people and places every single time you move. So that there is a lot of like you need to be able to handle uncertainty, fluidity, not always knowing how the things are going to go, and yeah, having this flexibility about who you are to be able to navigate this type of things. The perks of it is that because you live in multiple countries, usually you also get friends with most of the expatriates, and then you end up having your besties living all over the world. I have, a French bestie that lives in Sweden. I have a bestie who is from India, but she lives in Germany. Like so many people living in so many different places with a lot of different cultures, and I think this makes for a very rich life, and really meeting people with so many different backgrounds and experiences that, yeah, I feel it's really helped me expand my own open-mindedness and the way I can, if I meet somebody now, it's like, oh, you're just an individual, tell me your story, rather than, oh, you are just that cliche and I'm keeping you in there. So it's made me very, yeah, very, very open to the world in general, which I think has helped me as well in my career, has helped me as a coach. And as a person, it makes things interesting, actually, when you can talk to different people about what they do and how they see the world as well. And another thing that is really interesting is what each country teaches you about yourself. Because each country has a different flavor, you have different experiences while you are living in the country. And I really realized that every single time I've been to a different place, I take what I want from it. Like I take the best from the country, I leave out the thing that don't work, and I also learn about myself, and I keep the parts of me that are really been thriving in this country. And just to go through the country here. So the first country I went to was France. This is where I'm born, but I do not relate to the country. So every single time somebody tells me you're French, and because they hear a little bit of accents, I'm like, I used to be French in another life, and usually that triggers very interesting conversations. But for me, that's what it is. It's like it was my life from when I was years old to, was it 25? Yeah, a little bit before 25. So it was just like, the kind of growing up and very early adulthood. And I don't really feel that I've ever fit in the culture. This is something maybe like people can find strange, but it's not because you're born in a country that you automatically fit in the culture of that country. For instance, I am not a very big passionate of cheese. I eat some, but I'm not like, oh my God, I'm gonna die if I don't have cheese. And same thing with wine. I don't drink alcohol. So when people talk to me and they imagine that I'm French, they directly talk about food, and I'm like, not relating to that at all. And I feel in general the French culture was really hard for me to grow up in, most likely because of neurodivergence, which I was not aware of. But I feel as well there is a lot of elitist culture. And if I look back at all my childhood, was more or less that. It was really focused on doing well at school, getting into the best schools, and the like a elite level world class type of organizations. And a lot of it was very, I would say, unhealthy. If I look back, I'm like, oh my God, this really told me the hustle culture from A to Z. Like I remember, yeah, some of the university years were like really working so many hours, really burning myself out and being continuously in a loop where if I was not working and studying, I wasn't going to be able to catch up. So a lot of it was not very healthy in general. But I've learned from it that I have a strong work ethic, that I'm able to put in the efforts, be disciplined. So these are things that I brought with me as a positive side of me when I left the country. And the rest I've given up everything on that. The second country I went to was Spain, and I started with an internship, which was my very first experience abroad. And that was an interesting one. And I remember the first few days there because I was moving to another country and I was like, how do I find the place to live? And I ended up in the very first few days living with two Russian girls in the middle of the Gothic barrier in Barcelona. And I was very dodgy. Let me put it this way. I was very dodgy. I was very uncomfortable in the place. And it's like, you don't really know what's going to happen to you. And then I remember having to go and visit apartments and talk to people in Spanish, which I had learned at school, but not yet really practicing very well. So it was a lot of like resourcefulness, a lot of like figuring out and trying to survive initially. And then yeah, just kind of proving to myself that first of all I could live abroad, but also yeah, just working on this muscle of okay, things are a little bit unclear now, but they will come to a to a normal level. And it was also the first test of me being confident with languages, because even though I learned languages at school in France, we learn them, but we don't really speak them. So when you end up in the country having to speak, it's like big issue. So I had to really work through this first process of building confidence and trying to say sentences and words and kind of letting go of perfectionism around languages, and just kind of like improvising or finding different ways to explain myself, which I think also helped with communication in general. And it was also an opportunity to discover a lot because it was my first time abroad, and Barcelona is an amazing city. So I was like going around, going to different places, being curious. So I think this really trained my first, my first experience abroad was really about understanding, actually, you know what? I'm pretty resourceful. I can figure things out. I can survive. And then there are so many things to explore actually that just kind of open doors and give me a strong sense of freedom, which actually was aligned with who I was. So that was the first thing I'm taking from this, is this learning that I could survive. It was my lesson from Spain. Then I moved to the Netherlands to do a PhD, and Netherlands is widely different from Spain, very different. One of the things that I remember the most is that in the first few months, I was, trying to figure out how to live there. I was also trying to figure out how to do my PhD, and there was a bit of frustration at some point. And I remember one of my colleagues, basically, I was kind of complaining, which is the typical French thing, and she kind of interrupted me by saying, "What have you tried so far?" And this was probably the last time that I complained in my entire life, because she really kind of pinpointed that I was not doing anything, and I was kind of in this French mindset that I thought I had left behind. So this for me was one of the things that I remember from that, is it's in general the entrepreneurial mindset that exists in the Netherlands. It's really just kind of like finding solutions, or they debate a lot. They are quite direct, and all this mindset about, okay, have you done something about it, is something that made me more proactive. That really just make me pause every single time when something is not going right. It's like, okay, what have I tried, and is there a different way? And also having more like innovation mindset around that. I feel also the Netherlands was really good for somebody who has autism, which I did not know at the time, but the country is really well organized. Everything is very smooth. A lot of it you can do in English or a little bit in Dutch, but it's not like the procedures are in general very, very, very easy. And the quality of life overall, everything is like so easy, like streamlined, you know. So the quality of life is very, there's not so much like mental load or having to figure things out a lot. And that's very, very good. And it's also very independent and focused on well-being. So for instance, it was normal to work from home, yeah, far before the pandemic. If I was asking my manager, hey, I want to work from home tomorrow, there was not even like a, what do you mean? Or they do a lot around well-being and when you can take days off and things like that. So yeah, it was it's in general high quality life, but also kind of telling me what I need in terms of type of mindset. So this more like entrepreneurial mindset and creator mindset is something that I took from the Netherlands and I really carry with me because it's one of the big parts of me as well. Then I moved to the UK, but I will come back to it because I moved back twice there. Then it's also UK, Belgium. Belgium, very different from the Netherlands as well, although it's very close. Part of my family is from Belgium, so I already have a little bit of sense of the culture, but they are kind of like half French, half Belgium, so it's a mixed thing. But Belgium, I was there for like 6 months, and yeah, I think what I love the most about it is that they don't take themselves seriously that much. So when you work, for instance, with people, they are very professional, they do the work, but they also bring playfulness, they also bring humor, and they also bring this kind of like a lack of ego, I would say, in a way. And that was really good for me. That was a bit liberating because sometimes you have this idea that you need to be professional and everything has to be absolutely 100% about the work. And having more like flexibility to be both, be very professional, do really good work, and also enjoy yourself, and also be funny and goofy around. I think that really gave me permission as well to be a different person. So this was one of the things that I took from there. And yeah, the food was good as well. Then Italy. Italy, I was there for 4 months only. If you watch, I think what was last video that I talked about how I learned Italian in 3 months. Go check it out. But yes, it was a very immersive experience, very short experience. But I was there for work sent by my company, so I had to really work directly with the people very, very quickly. And outside of learning the language very fast and learning how I learn, which is one thing that I'm still using to this day, that is really helping me move forward very fast. I also enjoy the yeah, the vibe of the country, and particularly my team. I was working with three very, very, very nice guys. Really, honestly, I'm so glad that I've met them. But they were really generous. They were really people who made me feel cared for, which is not something that I've always experienced in workplaces. And it was just like, tiny things like jokes and attention and things that were actually deeply human, that were not very complicated or very big like leadership or things like this. It's just like, no, 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 you're just a human in front of me and I'm taking care of you and I'm making you feel valued in the team, and I'm showing patience when you are learning Italian, and we are helping each other. There was a lot of yeah, just very natural care, natural authenticity there that I really enjoyed and really like keep with me preciously. And that also gave me a new standard to what are the type of behaviors I'm expecting from the people around me, and also how I can help other people, because sometimes it's just this tiny attention or tiny words here and there that can make a big difference in how a colleague is experiencing work or somebody feels valued. So that's like, yeah, things around my own communication and my own way of demonstrating care to other people that I took with me from Italy. And then the UK, which is the latest one. So I was there the first time before COVID, and then I came back just when COVID was shutting the country, and I've been there since in different locations in the UK. What can I say about the UK? It is not the best country when you're neurodivergent. I'm going to start with that. I feel the communication in the UK is in general very indirect, very yeah, not a lot of authenticity, which for me, with my brain on the autism spectrum, goes against what I need to feel psychologically safe in some place. So yeah, it's been a hard journey there, trying to adapt to people. Some people are different than that, but I would say in general the vibe is more like superficial kind of caring people. But then you can also see that they're sometimes passive aggressive or that they disagree with you, but they're not telling you directly. So there is a lot of like finding ways to create good communication. That's obviously I've trained my own communication skills, but it has felt a lot of time quite exhausting. And I would say like the UK is one of the countries that has made me feel rejected many times. Like, you know, when you feel like this entire country doesn't like me and I should leave, this is the type of mindset that I've quite often experienced here. So yeah, a bit of struggle here. I would also say it's been associated with me starting entrepreneurship, me having the diagnosis of autism as well. So there's been a lot of building, unbuilding, experimenting, failing, yeah, rediscovering myself in this process as well. So I feel overall the UK has been like a karmic lesson of, yeah, yeah, I've hit a few walls a few times. So I would say my general impression is at the same time very hard, but at the same time also grateful because it's something that has really helped me grow, yeah, skills, confidence, and yeah, my own identity as well. So a lot of things in one, but sometimes you get the bad thing that really helps you create something different. And yeah, I'm actually emotional thinking about all these countries, all the people I met there, all the places I've been, because I can see the whole journey and I can see how it really shaped my mindset, shaped how I think about life. And yeah, I don't think I wouldn't want to have done it differently. I don't think I would want to be anybody else. I think I like this mindset of having high work ethic, but also finding ways to really care about the people around me, but also not taking myself too seriously, and also being entrepreneurial and creating things, and you know, taking all the karmic lessons I can get. So I think overall that kind of like summarizes me quite a lot. And yeah, you might be resonated with this journey. If you've lived abroad, actually, I would like to know. Tell me from where you are watching this video, and if you have similar experiences or anything that you've learned about yourself that you are like, okay, yeah, this happened because of this country. And yeah, if you are hesitating, maybe you're watching this video because you're like, I would like to live as an expatriate long term. I would like to try different countries, but I don't know where. Yeah, my best advice to you is try, but be ready that there will be lessons and different things that will come with it, and just enjoy the process and yeah, enjoy discovering yourself as well through a different lens, through a different world, through a different culture. It's very worth the experience, and you will get addicted to it. I can guarantee you that you won't want to go back to your original country, or if you go back, you will actually feel that you're a stranger in your own country. That's a very possible reaction. So yeah, I'm leaving you with that, and I see you tomorrow for another video.